Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. This is Susan Ryan. I'm the Senior Director of the Greenhouse Project, and I'm super excited about our topic for today. But before we go there, just a few quick housekeeping announcements. All listeners will be in listen-only mode, so you can ask questions at the very end of this through the chat box. We're going to save some time at the end so that you are able to ask questions. In addition to that, you will receive a link to today's webinar about 1 hour after the presentation. The other thing I want to do is to invite everybody to our Dementia Symposium in Little Rock, Arkansas on May 18, 2020. Really excited to have Dr. Al Power, whom probably many of you have heard on other webinars that he has done for the Greenhouse Project, but certainly an internationally known speaker that is really taking us beyond memory care and sharing with us his dementia well-being approach. Not only is Dr. Power going to be there, but he is joined with an incredible group of dementia experts that will be supporting that day. And it's truly something that you won't want to miss. Today's speaker, I can't tell you how excited I am. The topic is Elder-Led Design, Empowering Elders and Fostering Multi-Generational Relationships. Dr. Emi Kiyota is one of the most wicked smart and yet humble people I've ever met. She has got one of the biggest hearts to be able to do amazing work. I'm going to read her bio because I don't want to miss anything that she has done that I believe is just so profound in terms of her ability to really inspire us to think differently and do differently, and to really want to emulate some of the things that she has done. Emi Kiyota is the founder and director of Ibasho, an organization that facilitates the co-creation with elders of socially integrated, sustainable communities that value their elders. Dr. Kiyota holds a PhD in architecture from the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. She is an environmental gerontologist and a consultant with over 20 years experience in designing and implementing person-centered care in long-term care facilities and hospitals globally. Her current focus is on creating socially integrated and resilient cities where elders are engaged and able to actively participate in their communities. She has published journal articles and book chapters and serves on the board of directors of the Global Aging Network. Dr. Kiyota has been awarded fellowships to investigate this topic, including a fellowship at the Graduate School of Design at Harvard, the Rockefeller Bellagio Residency Fellowship, that is in Italy, and the Atlantic Fellowship for Equity in Brain Health at the Global Brain Health Institute at the University of California in San Francisco. I first met Emi soon after I started at Greenhouse, and I just found her passion to really create those types of environments where elders are really truly empowered and valued in such a way that they really are recognized for the dignity and the worth that is really truly a part of each individual. So Emi, I am thrilled that you're here and thrilled that you can share a bit of your story and certainly a bit of what you have accomplished. So with that, we're turning it over to you, Emi.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation to share my experience with a wider audience. Before I move into the contents of Ibasho, I will actually like to start with the video for people to see, because, you know, just Ibasho project that I've been working on is all about elders, and I really wanted to show how our elders actually making things happen.
So before we watch the video, I just want to say, I think this is what is so compelling. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth even more. And when I saw this video, when Emi sent it to me, I was just blown away. So please pay close attention to this amazing video that really describes the work that Emi did when she first went to Japan and introduced Ibasho.
Susan, there's no
Yeah,
sound.
let's stop it for a minute. So it's really interesting. We have sound on our end, but unfortunately it doesn't sound like it's coming through on the other end. So we're going to make you the presenter, Emi, and let you
Sure.
take it there.
Yeah. So if you could work on that sound when I'm
Yes, we
doing the
will.
presentation, maybe we can show it at the end.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And if it's not going to work out, then we will put up put that video in the web tonight, so people will be able to see it later.
Right. We will send there are actually links to 3 different locations of Ibasho, and we will make sure those go out to everybody after the call, after the webinar.
Okay. So I will actually like to start with the letter that I wrote when I started Ibasho. The time to be happy is now, the place to be happy is here, and the way to be happy is to make other people happy. I found this quote in elementary school in Bhutan, which is supposed to be the happiest country in the world, when I was working on senior housing project for Bhutanese Buddhist monks. It resonated me because it captures the gap between our current approach to elder care and what elder wants. Everyone wants to be useful to others, regardless of their age, physical, cognitive capacities. Yet older adults are increasingly being marginalized around the world, even as their numbers are growing rapidly. Far too often, aging is viewed simply as a process of decline, while the growth that accompanies aging remain invisible. As a result, elders are effectively cut off from the flow of daily life, their wisdom and perspectives lost to the children and younger adults in their communities. Watching this process plays out in communities around the world, I found myself wondering what it would take to create societies in which aging is not something to fear, but opportunity to appreciate our potential for meaningful growth throughout our lives. To answer this question, I co-developed the principle-based Ibasho approach, which I'm going to be talking about, and collaborated with community of experts in community development, elder care, policy making, economics, geriatric medicine, city planning, architecture, and most importantly, with the elders to help empower them to create physical place where they can contribute to community members of all ages. How can I advance this? Okay. So this is the screen, the pictures that we took because we worked in three communities so far to create Ibasho. One is from the left, it's Philippines, and the middle one is from Nepal, and the last one on the right, that is Japan. Today, I would like to share my experience of working with them in various parts of the world, including Bhutan. And I'm hoping that this experience will help you to advance the current way of caring for elders. So my career actually in aging started with my personal experience of my grandmother's in her later life. By the way, this picture is not my grandmother because I cannot talk about her with her own picture. So this is one of the elders that still captures the message that I wanted to send it out to all of you. She was a great grandmother for me. She actually sent me into the US to study aging at the end of the day. She supported me from that, when I was growing up. One day she started to have memory problem. So she checked herself into a nursing home because she did not want to be a burden. But she at that time had an early stage of Alzheimer's. So she was able to function well. But when she moved into nursing home, she was diagnosed as a person with dementia in a nursing home, and she suffered from meaningless life. And she felt so helpless because she always grew herbs and dried up and just sent it to us, all this herb tea. She wasn't able to access the outside to grow vegetables. So she completely became dependent because her role was to be taken care of. And she lost the sense of dignity. And now she became one of the elders, one of the number. So this is a picture I wanted to share with you because I hear all the time that, oh, Japan is actually much better. Yes, we do care for elders, but at the same time, loneliness, helplessness, meaningless life happens. So those are the two pictures, real pictures from Japan. So I'm not going to be covering up, some part of the issues that we have to fix. But I must say, working in even Bhutan, Ivory Coast in Africa, Nepal, Philippines, this social isolation and dependent role that happens everywhere. So it is not only Western world issues. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of a statistics because, a lot of time people are very familiar with aging situation in OECD countries, which is rather wealthy part of the world, including US and Japan and Europe. So this blue line is, the number of older people over 60 years old. In UN, many of the country has a very low birth rate. The life expectancy still. So 60 years old, it is supposed to be older population in the UN definitions. A lot of time people said, well, developing part of the world, their percentage is low, so we don't have to worry about aging. But when you look at the blue line, which is a number of the people, this is a number of people actually. So 80% of the people in the world over 60 years old actually lives in the developing part of the world. So this is a simple statistics, by 2050, 1 out of 5 people will be over 60. You're talking about in a global level. And over 60 population will be larger than under 15 population years old in population in 2050. 80% of the older people are living in the country that is middle to lower income country. And it's more than 180 million older people are living in poverty. To give you a different perspective, 120, I think it was 136 million is the whole population of Japan. So we're really talking about quite a large number of people who are older people experience the poverty. it's not only about the percentage of older population that's a problem. In the global level, the speed of aging, the aging society is becoming so fast. You know, like France and Sweden, where you talk, you know, you hear a lot about the better social security in elder care. It took about 70 years from percentage of 7% of older population to 14% of populations older 65. When you look at the United States, it takes about 35. So it's just, you know, the aging speed is like double the double actually. And Japan, it only took 20 years. And when you move into the right side of um, the graph, like a table, like China, Thailand, Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, they're much faster pace to be growing. What that means is that are we really prepared for this fast growing older population globally? You know, rather like wealthier part of the world had the time to prepare, and they had financial, you know, strengths to be able to prepare to look after elders. But middle to lower income country, they have very limited financial strength, and also the speed of aging is coming faster. So we really have to take action. And what can we do? So traditional point of view of aging, it's always elders are vulnerable populations who needs to be cared for by younger generation. So when you hear about aging society, elders as a burden to our society. So Ibasho try to change the perception about aging and the social role of older people, because we believe elders are valuable asset of their communities. When I was in developing part of the world, I see that a lot actually. Being old is a privilege because they are able to get older. They're healthier, they're wiser, and community actually look up to them. But in modern society, you know, I think we don't really value the variable assets that elders has. And we do also believe that life experience and wisdom benefit younger generation and help strengthen the resiliency of their communities. Because they do have quite a bit of experience. Even, you know, when the natural disaster happened in Japan, um, younger people did not know what to do without water and electricity because we are so used to convenience of everything. Older people, on the other hand, knew how to start a fire to be able to cook rice. You know, all these traditional values, we really have to just revisit and look at what they can do because we don't really value those experiences. So Ibasho wants to change the perceptions. That's how it started. So really, like what we try to do, that four key things: challenge the perception of aging and the social role of elders, and promote the philosophy that elders can add value to their community, and then build capacity within the community members, particularly elders, to lead and manage initiatives. And the third one is to promote self-sustainability, enabling elders to maintain their project for a long time. And the last one is to address the change of global aging by offering new form of community-based care founded by peer-to-peer elder support network. So we have 3 sites so far for Ibasho in Japan, Philippines, and Nepal. They actually met together. We brought elders, you know, to Philippines, and we had symposium at the Asia Development Bank and the World Bank, people to learn about what elders need. So those 3 at that time, they exchanged their ideas about how they actually run Ibasho and learn from each other. So this picture to me really just makes me smile always. Captures exactly what we try to do. You know what, the modern society, older people does exercise and kids are sitting in the bench and, you know, playing video game. But that's what the modern aging society is. So what we try to do is, like Ibasho isn't the term, it's a Japanese term, a place you can feel at home being yourself. And the children and elders, they exchange their knowledge and ideas together and by sharing a space to each other. So we don't create a program for them. Elders actually happen to be there when children actually stop on the way back from school. And when elders program something, it is always good for the children. So I love this picture. It was in Nepal, and what we try to do is to empower elders by situating them as the decision makers in the process of creating an operating program and a place that best suits their needs. It's been a very challenge for me. Although I do believe that we want to, empower other people to decide what they want to do. It takes time, and sometimes my preconceived behavior kick in and about to tell them what's better for them. But we just try not to do that. And it's a learning experience for me and our team members to really empower elders and just unlocking their wisdom. So what makes it different to do Ibasho? So elders are resources than the liabilities. Elders care for rather than being cared for. And elders are the catalyst to strengthen social capitals because they know everyone. And they are the change agent in the aging society. So we co-create community-owned resource hub. So it is built and designed, built by elders, and it's all maintained and operated by elders. It is a self-sustainable operation and governance. We did not want to make this initiative as grant-dependent initiative because we really wanted elders to continue their wisdom to grow and sustain by themselves. It is a space with meaning and purpose. We do not bring fabricated program. We really want elders to really feel that they are part of it. And we are really always hoping that everyone has something to contribute. Some people can teach English and some people are teaching Spanish because they were teachers. And one housewife came in and said, I have nothing to offer, but she does all the dishes sometimes. And she also encouraged people with dementia. When they came in, she helped them to wash dishes together rather than doing the dishes for them. So they always contribute their own way in this space. And what we try to do is to unlock the potential of elders. The graphics are not very clear. I'm so sorry about this, but the element of Ibasho has 5 pillars. So we have elders leadership. So elders really do take leadership. They have governance system and they hire younger people sometimes for anything that they need help. But they govern it, and the place is not the place where people. Oh, I think the place is not the kind of places that they're gonna go to be receiving care. That is the place where everybody can stop by, but being a part of operations. And the process is really elder-led. And activity should be always multi-generational, and it's meaningful, and it's empower elders. And all these 4 elements will be tied by 8 principles. So what Ibasho really tried to do is to integrate this 8 principle into many different situations and many different cultures. That's why we chose to make it as 8 principle. So, so these are the 8 principles. Older people are valuable assets to their community. And the last one is the growth to community is organic and embracing imperfection. So I will go through one principle by one, one by one to explain what that means. So the first most important principle, elder wisdom. Older people are valuable assets to their community. This is in Japan. These elders They recreated the fire sort of stove after the disaster happened. If you remember, we had big tsunami happen in this community. It was affected heavily by the tsunami. So they didn't have water, they didn't have electricity. They really, 10% of people died because of that. And at that time, they realized all this modern technology wasn't working because of the electricity and water loss. So they wanted to create evacuation center. So Ibasho is a part of evacuation center that doesn't rely on to modern technology. So they recreated this fire stove so they can actually cook. And also this is part of the activities that they teach younger children how to start fire. They're actually using lighter at this time, but they also teach how to start fire and how to make rice without using electricities and stuff. And second one, all residents participate in the normal community life. Again, this picture is from Japan. We did not want to make institutional place that is, always purpose driven, like 8 to 10 o'clock will be a coffee hours or Tai Chi class. And we, our elders and children, what they wanted was just to stop by whenever they want to and go home whenever they wanted to. They did not want to be part of the program all the time. So the kids are actually playing video game. I think it's universal all over the world. And, some people are just, the ladies are singing a song and other kids are actually having coffee and, people are stopping by. So just try to make a normal place where people want to go to. And the principle 3 is the community members drive development and implementation. So we don't create this place for them. Elders always decide what they want to do and what they need to do as a group. So this is a picture from Philippines. This is a very typical way of people actually design in the program what they want to do. And they also created evacuation map for older people because a lot of evacuation maps are developed for younger and healthy people. So they took initiative to create their own evacuation map to help other elders. Principle number 4, multi-generational. All generations are involved in the community. So what we try to do is to create everything multi-generational in mind. This is a picture from Nepal. I thought it was beautiful. This is in a nursing home, in an activity room, because we didn't have a place to start the conversation in a meeting space. So we use multi-purpose room in one of the old age home. And these elders are all abandoned women. They don't have any family members. And those kids actually, when we were doing activities and just talking about what we wanted to do and the meeting, children just walk in to the nursing home and then they started to help elders. And, to me, it is one of the big learning that we can actually learn from middle to lower income country, because when I think about this in Japan or like the US, the kids won't walk into multi-purpose room just because of the recess time, and they will touch elders like this way. But I think we really have to rethink about rigidity for the name of safety. That really strip away a lot of meaningful the wealth multi-generational activities. The next one is demarginalization. All residents participate in the normal community life. So we built, this is like a blue doors. That was the one that was built by the Filipino elders. It's Ibasho. It's a little hard for you to see out of context, but this is in the middle of the community center. And this basketball court in Philippines is really in the center, activities for children. So older people and younger people decided Ibasho has to be right next to it. So, because we did not want to shove these elders out of our sight, they said it would be nice to have elders sitting and watch us. So that's another thing. And it is, everything we do is culturally appropriate. It doesn't have to be this exotic like Nepalese, but the local culture and traditions are respected. Like in the US, I live in Washington, D.C. now, and I used to, last year I was in San Francisco. There is a completely different culture. And within the city, there is a Latino community, African American community, Japanese communities, all these local cultures are there, but sometimes we just don't pay enough attention. But I think that, you know, Ibasho, we really want to take advantage of this local cultural significance to really to the point where children can learn from elders about this local community and the cultural values. And the next one is resilience. Communities are environmentally, economically, and socially sustainable. So we do somehow those three sites wanted to do farming and recycling because, and also the elders are very environmentally sustainable the way they live normally compared to us. And economically sustainable means that we actually, so all these places generate income by, you know, growing vegetables. Those are all organic, and they collect recycling to make money, so that the people who participate actually donate their time to generate income to be able to operate Ibasho. The last one is embracing imperfection. I am sure, so if you run nursing homes or elder care, you'll be like, oh, this is a risk and a hazard. But, you know, sometimes when we strive too much on perfection, we actually miss the beauty of our life. And also that if we try to start with perfection, we don't get to do things. We just wait until it's too late and nothing gets done. So what we always tell elders is that, you know, we can always make it grow, start from somewhere. And just, and, you know, if we have enough money to be able to put the light bulb, and then you can just put light bulbs. Of course, I don't want them to stand on the chair all the time, but, you know, these are the adaptation that we can actually always do. But we really wanted to have this, you know, just mental mindsets that we can actually start to do something. So this is a simple development plan for Ibasho project for your review, you know, how we do this. It's normally, it's like a have 5 phases. So we do like a feasibility study, just like it's a pre-project. We just explore if this community wants to do this, and also if this community members can actually able to do this. And the second one is to creating a shared understanding and vision, because I must say, older people can be the most ages when sometimes because they just don't, you know, we kind of condition ourselves and elders that elders are someone to be taken care of and they shouldn't be doing something. So when we started doing this Ibasho, a lot of elders said we are too old to do this. You know, that mindset needed to change. So we spent time and just develop the shared visions that they can actually do. And they actually can. We just have to help them to shift their mindset. And the third one is really providing technical support to develop program and train them to be skillful at the kind of program they want to do, and also to design and build the building together. And we actually do fundraise together. And the next one is that assisting elders to create the placemaking, like, you know, just design is not going to be the end. You know, once we have an opening, that's when elders start to renovate to meet with their own needs. So we always said opening day of Ibasho is the first day of operation, but, you know, that's when elders actually take over to make their own space over time. And the fourth one is, the fifth one, sorry. We are just, because this is elder-led community, we don't want to stay there and just help them throughout. So we right phasing out sort of plan with elders, and then we help them to be independent. So all these three places, we don't go there and just just help them for operation because they're all independent. Of course, we are here to answer questions and try to support, but we don't run for them. So this is a simple process. I could just go through this. Basically, Ibasho and community has different role to play, and then the projects. And we convene, but it's not that Ibasho does everything for community. So community members has to sign up to prepare for, to find a property in Philippines, in Nepal, and Japan. So they found property, and we always design the building that is that can be maintained by local elders. So the scales are very different. I can show you the pictures later. It's a different kind of buildings, but we do raise funds. So we just have, it's not always like Ibasho create and give it to the elders. It is, we work together very closely. This is another way of structure. Our structure is like on the left, it's in Ibasho. In the middle of it, it is Ibasho project that is operation body and elders. We do everything through elders. So when we get permit, when we do fundraising, when we do workshop, we always mobilize elders to actually organize for us so that we could help them out, but we don't do this for them. So it is the big elders has to take a big stake on this. But they always, at the end of the day, they're so pleased and proud to be doing the kind of work that they do. So this is a picture of Japan Ibasho, because Japan is requirement is very high because we have earthquake all the time and a tsunami quite a bit. So this was a donated farmhouse from the community members who were very much impressed by the approach and the Ibasho concept. So the family donated the farmhouse, and we actually repurposed it and created and designed with elders. And this looks nothing like what we started. Elders actually changed a lot of things, and they made their own. So this is a different type of building. It's in the Philippines. When we actually, like a Filipino, like to be outside. So when we were talking about what we're gonna do for the program, we actually sat outside and then just think about what we wanted to do. But again, elders secure the property and we raise funds together, and elders actually found a volunteer architect to design this place and got all the permits and built by themselves. So this is another place. It's in Nepal. So this is because they did not want to spend too much money onto the building where it takes more maintenance costs. So they actually did bring their own way of building this shed, and they want to expand from here. So what we found in this the project, we have done evaluation. It's with a big research team, and what we found was that elders who are participating in Ibasho has more sense of control over their community and environment. They actually do have more friends, and they have deeper sense of belonging to their own communities. So so that's what we are happening, and I have to give you a little bit more information. So these three sites were determined because those three sites had a natural disaster that happened, and they all had aging issues. So Japan, we started to work on this, and then they now generate income from farmers market, and they have organic garden, and they have ramen noodle shop. They just started up after school tutoring with retired teachers, and then in the weekend they have a shopping support done by older people. And the older people who are healthier actually started to knock on the door of the elders who are living by themselves or needs help. Because lots of times social workers, they can't, lots of older people don't open the door, but elders, when they do open the door because they know them as a friend. So in terms of elder-led design, I just wanted to kind of share my struggle and my aspirations. How we design the environment really shape the way we think. We try to protect the elders, and that's how we design, but sometimes that creates dependency by overprotection and provides special service for elders that might create ageism. And specially designed service and built environment that can create stigma. Age-specific design may create segregation. We all talk about IT and technology that change the aging field, but excessive convenience and technology might actually create social isolations. So when we are in the field of aging, I really hope that people will always keep this in mind, that kindness to do something might actually create something negative if we're not careful enough. So what's our next step? We worked on this in Japan, Nepal, and Philippines. I would love to be able to implement Ibasho concept into the US. And it's not only community organizations, but it's a principle based activity. So it is elder care providers can be also, we can work on that, and senior center, library, and community centers. We can always just bring more elders' wisdom, and community-based care organization and affordable housing providers. The listing thing, some of the list here, I listed up because we still have a mindset of we have to look after elders, and we kind of stripping away what they can do and how they can feel helpful by helping others. And we really want to just rethink about that opportunities and expand Ibasho global network. Our 3 sites elders are so excited every day. Every time we just connect through internet and like a Facebook page. I would love to be able to see like peer-to-peer knowledge exchange happening more and mutual support system among elders. And can I continue?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, yeah. And the last one is to create community where elders with so the last one is to create community where elders with dementia can aging in place with meaning. That has been my research agenda. And I have to say, just it always reminds me of the John F. Kennedy's speech in 1962. He said, "We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they're hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skill, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too." When I said, well, I'm very much interested in creating a community where people with dementia can stay in their own home if they choose, and if they want to aging in place in long-term care, that will be their choice. But we should be able to create a community where older people with dementia or frailty can still remain as they wish at their own home. And people said, oh, it's not possible. How can you do this, do this? And I said, we were able to send people to the moon. Why can't we actually keep our own elders in their own planet, in their own home. And I feel like we just need to have, shifting mindset. And when we put our mind together, I think we should be able to do this. So I'm very hopeful to be able to create community where elders with dementia can, aging in place with meaning. And it's I have a strong feeling about this because of my grandmother and, these people who I know. I'm sure the people beyond this screen have experience of their own family. But I think if we put mind together, and we shouldn't postpone this because we feel impossible, because it is possible. So thank you very much. And this is my email address, and we have Ibasho website here. So if you have any questions, please contact with me. And these are my generous funders.
So Emi, this was phenomenal. We're going to try to play that video. I'm going to ask everybody who's on the call, if you're getting your audio from your phone, it may not work. So try to go to computer for audio. And we're going to, let's try it once more to see if we can get the video, because I really do believe it's worth watching. And while the video is playing, think about those questions that you'll have for Emi when we come back.
Perfect.
Just try the other one. We downloaded it to our GoToWebinar room, but it's not coming up. So Janet, you want to try it, and we'll just see if everybody's using their computer audio, if that makes a difference. So while we're waiting, there is a question already in the question box, and wondering about Ibasho ownership. Who owns each of those Ibasho sites?
It is, so when we started to do Ibasho, this is a community community members of elders. So we created not-for-profit organization in Japan, so they do own the place. And the property is owned, so far the property is owned by a donor who just said, we want you guys to use this land. So, but the building is owned by the organization that we created. It's an operation body for Ibasho. It's called Ibasho Social Project. Philippines, the building is owned by, again, we created a not-for-profit organization for operation. They call it Ibasho Philippines. And the property is owned by the community members. So they're leasing for 20 years for free. And the building is, is owned by the elders. And the Nepal is a co-op structure. And again, the co-op own that structure.
So I have another question while we're waiting. Sure. How much time did it take for you to develop, start to finish, the Ibasho in Japan? And then as you went to subsequent sites, was it less time once you had done it one time?
No, Japan, I think we spent about 12 months for program development and the design development, and 6 months for the construction. So it's about 18 months to complete the whole thing. And Philippines and Nepal, it took a little bit longer because we had we had a less funding, and so we spent a little bit more time for fundraising for the buildings. But it took probably about 20 months.
Wow.
Yeah. But I have a feeling that, one thing we learn is that it takes about 12 months, and 12 months might be, reasonable amount of time to spend to do a community development at least. If we were to do everything in 6 months, it will probably not last that long.
So we're going to try it once more to see if we can make this work. Otherwise, then I'll ask for questions.
Sure.
All right. Still no sound.
No, there's no video to play actually.
Video either. Okay. All right. We're going to just pause it. And what we will do, we will send out the links with everything else. So everybody will have the advantage of seeing not just the Ibasho in Japan, but the one in Philippines and Nepal. And I strongly encourage folks to take a look and at these videos because they are compelling. So let's look at the questions and to see what questions might have come up for you. And while you're putting your questions in there, you know, Emmy, I guess I just have to comment on the shifting mindsets, how important it is to really shift mindsets, and probably not just the elders, but for everybody else as well. I mean, I would think for staff, for us, we have to think about that.
Yes. I think the shifting mindset is probably the hardest thing. So I think we just needed to have a shared expectation among all of us, including elders, because elders, the Japanese elders especially said, we are old, government has to give us money and help us out. Kind of mindset is still there. So we just needed to say, yeah, you can still wait for that, but are you happy with what you get? I feel, so we actually did tour nursing homes, adult day center, senior centers, and really talked about what they wanted to do. So that's how we just try to challenge the way of thinking about what they can actually do in the community. And I think a lot of people think that community cannot do much. But when we just really look into the resources that, human resources and other resources within community, we really needed to revisit how much resources that we actually have to be able to mobilize all this. And from the staff point of view, we always needed to check to each other to say, you are kind of, you just like try to decide, or you just like try to be nice to them and just, please them rather than just challenging them and wait for them to decide. And I must say, at some point, I was even thinking, boy, making institution is so much easier than doing Ibasho because it's much faster and you can have control. But it just releasing the sense of control from our team, it was a constant struggle.
And would you say what was your biggest challenge? If that, I mean, to me, that seems like that would be one of them, is just letting go of that need to control. And that, part of that is shifting your mindset, but really letting go of control seems like that would be a big challenge. But what was your biggest challenge?
In terms of a shifting mindset?
No, just in general, and getting Ibasho to fruition. When you reflect back, what was the biggest challenge?
There are many of them, but I think, I think, biggest challenge to me is to have a consensus, to really develop real consensus among multiple stakeholders, that this is elders project. It is not about local government. It's not about university. It's not about facility. It is really, we are here to help elders to decide, and we just simply trust that elders can do. to run this place and to do the project, which is quite innovative. To really come up with the consensus as a team might be the biggest challenge.
Mm, yeah, I would think so. And there was a comment, not really a question, but it says, I love this, and it is so much more respectful than dementia-friendly communities, and it doesn't label people by their condition. So do you want to kind of speak to that? I think that's a beautiful comment, and
Yeah.
I certainly saw that in your presentation.
Great.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I actually like to share a story from elders. It was in Japan. So the city official actually reached out to the Ibasho elders and said, we have budgets to do memory cafe for people with dementia. So you can actually have funding to, a little bit more funding to do more projects and the program. And elders said, we're not going to do that because people with dementia can come, and they do come in every time. But, think about this. I don't really want to walk into dementia cafe or memory cafe on Friday 5 to 7. They can come anytime. And, if you want to do that, you can go to senior center or elder care, but we won't do it here.
Wow.
Which I think it really captures quite well. So they still, just say, thank you for the offer. Yes, it could have been nicer to have money, but we won't do it. That was the elders' decision.
That's great. That's very cool. And one final thing, what was your proudest moment?
Proudest moment. I just came back. I went to 7th anniversary for Ibasho, Japan. So when we opened, it was 7 years ago. And, they went through a lot, tsunami and earthquake, and they lost everything. But, just like I said, we didn't give them any money. After opening happened, elders really learn how to generate their income, and they even write grants. They learn how to write grants, and they operate for 6 years without any outside help, which to me it is a proud moment. And I think Nepal and Philippines, they have really nothing compared to what we have here, but they really made this vision happen with the building. That to me, it's just a proud moment, I guess.
Well, I should say so. And I am proud for you, and just proud of the incredible work that you're doing, and certainly share your vision and your dream to see Ibasho come to the U.S. and to think about what does it look like, and how do we really take those Ibasho principles to really create those intergenerational, those normal, resilient types of very respectful environments, and really recognize and tap into the wisdom of elders and the contributions that they have. One last thing I thought that was so cool is that you really, as you tap into that elder wisdom and their contributions, that no matter what they were, each person had something to contribute, whether it be just encouraging or somebody who said they could do the dishes. And I just so appreciate that strengths-based approach, if you will, but just the unique contributions and the value that each person brings. So thank you, Emi. This was phenomenal. And I really do encourage everybody, as the link comes out to everybody, that you would really watch this with your teams and really seek to learn a little bit more about Ibasho. And Emi, we really hope that somehow Greenhouse will be involved in whatever it is in bringing Ibasho to the States. We certainly, it's our passion, and we share your goals and those beautiful principles.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. So a couple of things before we end. We've got a couple workshops that are coming in March and April. The first one is in Pompano Beach, Florida at John Knox Village. on March 25th and 26th, and then April 1 and 2 in Warwick, Rhode Island, and that is at the St. Elizabeth's home there. I hope that you'll join us there to learn a bit more about the greenhouse communities. We have webinars coming up. Really excited for some workforce webinars, diversity and inclusion, understanding LGBT older adults. I've heard Mindy Cheek speak, and she's going to do a part 1, part 2, and really think about how we support LGBT older adults and what we can really do around workforce and creating a more inclusive workplace. And then Ann Ellett, our nurse practitioner, will be talking about sexuality and people living with dementia. So go to our website where you will find more details, and really hope to see you again on another webinar or see you at one of our workshops. Thanks so much for your time today, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emi.
Thank you.